What's up, guys? Mike Lewis here, and welcome to the Mike Lewis podcast. If you guys want to keep up with me on social media, you can follow me on Instagram at Mike Lewis Official, and you can follow me on Twitter at MikeLew52. It's where most of my updates come. If you're enjoying my content, give me a like and a subscribe. And without further ado, let's just dive right into this episode. All right, Miss Irene, thank you for stopping by today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Excited?
I am excited.
Yeah, me and you were joking about it off camera, but we were talking about the kind of wave of old OG cast members that they missed when their shows were first premiering. Now they're going to have to deal with it however so many years later with the new added press and social media. Are you prepared for that?
I really didn't think about it until I got back from filming, and we have these trailers that we're releasing, and people are just instantly reaching out to you, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm actually selling my house. I think that's a good thing, going someplace else, because they're going to have access to us, and we didn't have that back then. We had fan mail. I mean, they would actually send you a letter to communicate with you, and now it's just instantly. And whether they like you or not, people are going to have their opinions, and I got to prepare myself for that.
You wish you had it back then, or were you glad that you?
No, I'm glad we didn't have it back then. Not at all. It was much easier. It didn't hurt as much when you got something that someone wrote that wasn't nice, and didn't put it all over the internet. And this is going to be all over the internet.
Yeah, so how did you first hear about the show, like originally when you were first auditioning?
So I was a deputy marshal back in '93, and there was a flyer up in our break room that said, looking for someone in law enforcement to film a documentary, and basically it was really vague. So I called them up. I got the application, because you actually had to fill out an application and make a videotape. So I made a videotape and sent it in and got an interview. And I happened to fit two categories. First, I was in law enforcement, and second, I was planning a wedding. So they wanted to follow somebody who was actually going through the steps of planning a wedding and the law enforcement. So I fit both categories. Went through about 8 interviews, and with the producers, with the casting directors, and got a call and said, you're in. And I had no idea what the real world was. So I called my sister, and she's the one that said, these people, they're like living together. It's sort of like a frat house, sorority house, except they don't know each other. And I never watched it. I just recently watched the first one ever, because I really had no desire to. And I said, yeah, I could do that. That'll be fun, and have my wedding taped and put on TV. Why not?
Wow. How old were you at the time?
I was 25, and I was the oldest. And there was a cap at 25. I think they've lowered it now, but the oldest you could be was 25.
Wow. That's interesting, because you guys were the second season of The Real World, but I feel like had your season been like, say, season like, let's just throw out a number 13. I feel like if they knew you were like engaged at that time, at that point, they wouldn't cast, you. You know what I mean?
Probably.
I was kind of surprised that they would cast an engaged person, because usually, they gear towards like wanting single people on the show. Were you surprised that they wanted you?
Yeah, I did. I didn't think I was that interesting. I think that it was more the law enforcement side that got them hooked. And my fiance, he came on, to meet everybody and stuff. So he was part of the process. And I don't think anybody else in the future shows were ever in my position. So yeah, I was pretty surprised.
Yeah. How did you get into the law enforcement?
Actually, my mom, she worked for the county of LA, and she saw an application or a description of what a deputy marshal does. And she worked in the courts at that time. And that's where deputy marshals worked, were in the courts. And so she brought it home. I was a fashion major in college and really had no idea what I was going to do with my life. And she showed it to me, and I'm like, wow, they make a lot of money and weekends off and holidays. And I'm like, I think I can do that. And I was a big tomboy growing up. So I tried out for it, and it was multi-level interviews with sergeants and lieutenants and physicals and psychological tests. I went through about 9 or 6 tests and passed. And out of 900, only 9 of us made it to the academy. And I was lucky to be one of them.
Wow. So was that like the maybe the way you were typecasted for the show, like your character, I guess you could say?
I guess. I mean, there weren't too many females portrayed either on TV that were in law enforcement, and not let alone a Hispanic female. So I think I kind of opened the door to a whole new category, because I would tell people the only law enforcement people that you did see on TV were, you remember Poncherelli on Chips?
Yeah.
That was the only law enforcement. So I think it was kind of unique for them to cast me in that position.
Oh yeah, for sure. Did it scare you at all coming on to the homecoming with maybe the current climate in the last year and a half or so with having the law enforcement, probably different roles, I would assume, right? Like you weren't like a maybe cop that goes around, but like you were working at like the inmate cells and stuff like that, but still like maybe the label.
Yeah, because after the Marshal's Department merged with the Sheriff's Department, so I became part of LA County Sheriff's. So I was immersed more into the culture than working in the courts, because I did work the jails. And I mean, I lived through the riots. And it was, back then, I had someone tell me, okay, you're going to go on the show and don't embarrass this department. So I kind of held back at that time when, certain things that I wanted to express my feelings about, and I didn't. And now I actually had the chance to come up and make up for that and really tell people how I felt about law enforcement. I mean, it was the greatest career I ever had. Do I recommend anybody doing it? No, because it's a total different world now.
Yeah. What was the driving force for wanting to come back and do homecoming?
Well, John, he's the one that kind of spearheaded all of us together to get this going. And I'm in a position now that I'm financially stable. The money is nice, and I didn't need it, but I knew it could help some people in my life. So I did it for that. And I did it to help John because I wanted him to reboot his career. He's such a talented person, and I think he missed his window of opportunity. And I thought, and we know that this is going to be a great platform for him to share his music. So I think that I did it for him and for my family.
Yeah, John actually just got the blue check on Twitter the other day.
I know. He bragged. Yeah, he called me. He goes, check it out. I got the blue check on Instagram and on Twitter. And I'm like, well, how do I get one of those?
So you're a part of the victory ring then of people he was calling.
Yep, I was.
Before we keep diving into some real world stuff, could you maybe walk the viewers through what you're up to today?
Okay, well, so I retired back in 2014 and then retired on a disability retirement in 2015. And at that time, I was going through a divorce, another one. And so I needed to supplement my income somehow, but I didn't want a job. I didn't want to answer to anybody. I didn't want to work weekends or work nights. So I found a company that I partnered with. It's called the Juice Plus Company. And it's simply fruits and vegetables in a capsule. And I've been with them for 4.5 years, and I'm a representative with them. And I'm building a team, and it's fun. I get to help people get healthier. I mean, my health has improved immensely since taking this whole food nutrition. and I'm having lots of fun doing it, and helping other women mainly. But I actually just spoke to my first male teammate, so I'm excited about that. And I'm helping women, especially stay-at-home moms, earn an extra income, and while they're at home taking care of their children.
Yeah, it seems pretty incredible from what I was seeing on your social media.
Yeah.
Is that potentially keeping yourself ready if you ever get the call for a challenge in the near future, or?
Know it. Absolutely. I wish they'd call me because I mean, I work out constantly, so I'm in better shape at 54 than I was at 44. And
Wow.
I can hold my own. So definitely they should call me.
Was there an event that took place, like in particular, that like inspired you to want to get in like maybe better shape, or is what you just already listed?
Well, I've had back surgery. I've
Oh,
had
okay.
bicep reattachment surgery and neck surgery. And I this was all while I was taking the product and stuff. So I started feeling healthier. I ran the LA Marathon, which I never thought I was going to do. And I've done one of the Tough Mudders. I think that's what it's called. Competitions and stuff. And just, being healthy and being able to compete at a different level at my age, that was my inspiration to do that. So I'm ready for the challenge.
But they haven't called, right, for All Stars yet?
No,
Ah,
not yet. I still
all
have
right.
time.
That's another thing too. I feel like maybe some real worlders that didn't do the challenge on their like original stints on the show, maybe that's kind of like pushed them to the back of the line in the sense of the
Yeah.
All Stars.
Right, right. I mean, they called me about road rules at one point, and I was raising kids. I didn't have time to do that, and told them no. So maybe they really put me at the back of the line.
Oh, they wanted you to do road rules after your original Real World season?
Yeah. Oh no, I'm sorry. It was a challenge. It was a challenge.
Oh,
Not
okay.
not road rules. It was a challenge,
How,
but it was a
how
long time ago.
oh, a long time ago.
Mhm.
Was that the only one or was it multiple times?
Yeah, that was the only one that I got called for.
Ah.
So okay, that's okay. I
Yeah.
love raising my kids instead.
We'll have a prayer circle for you, maybe.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. So I'm interested in that you had your marriage, which is like a pretty unprecedented thing to take place on the real world. I think it was the first and only time we've seen something like that happen.
Mhm.
Um well, first question, did MTV like rearrange that for you, or was that something that like you entirely did on your own?
It was all on my own. They had nothing to do with it. They didn't pay for anything, nothing. I mean, they did want me to move where they put the head table at the reception in a different spot because of the lighting. And I said, absolutely not. So they really didn't dictate anything when it came to the wedding
Oh
or the
wow.
planning. Nothing.
I figured they might have if that was going to be taking place on their like kind of platform though. But
Nope. Nope. They just let it go.
would you have wanted that assistance, or would you have felt like comfortable the way it was? Kind of feeling like it's my thing. I want to go ahead and do it the way I want to do it, or would you have wanted a helping hand?
Back then I was a super control freak, so that wouldn't have been a good thing if they were to help me. And I'm very, very organized, so I knew exactly what I was doing. I mean, you plan your wedding since you're a little girl, so I knew
Yeah.
exactly what I wanted, and nobody was going to change it. And I didn't want any help. I could do it on my own.
Did you feel like maybe the wedding taking place on TV kind of doomed it a little bit in terms of like your marriage, or?
Oh no, no, not at all. We were married for almost 10 years.
Oh, that's a long time.
Yeah, we have two kids. My son is 27 and my daughter's 22. I had the first real world baby. That would be my son Corey. And yeah, no, didn't do it. It's stuff happens, and unfortunately, divorce rates are really high in law enforcement. Everybody says, okay, that's not going to happen to me, but it does happen.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, that was kind of a crazy thing to have happen at the time, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
In terms of like, that's what I think of, like your guys' season and all the seasons that kind of followed that. when I think of truly what reality TV is, because it felt just like real and authentic at the time,
Hmm. Hmm.
Now, if it were to happen, I feel like it would just be like a pretty straightforward thing. If someone were to casually walk in front of a screen and be like, "Oh, someone's getting married on TV," like, "Oh,
Right,
that's
right.
normal." Whereas if it would have happened when you guys were airing, they'd be like, "Oh, wow, this is kind
There's a
of out of
wedding on
the."
TV. Well, just like, Princess Di and Princess Fergie. I mean, we got up super early in the morning just to watch those weddings. And because weddings weren't on TV like that.
So, what is like maybe your stance? Say if you were never on reality TV, would you like it or would you not watch it?
Reality TV?
Yeah.
Uh, certain reality TV things I would watch. I'm a huge food person, so I watch every food reality show that's out there. Um, do I watch, like Big Brother or Survivor? No, I just don't have the time to watch any of those. And they just don't really interest me, especially Big Brother. I saw, I think, the first one ever and Survivor. And I think too, because I was raising children, that's wasn't on my TV. I didn't
Uh,
want them to see that. I mean, I didn't, my kids barely have seen my season. And that's because we have Paramount Plus. Because I have them all on videotape. And I've never converted them to CDs or anything like that. So they never had the opportunity to watch them. So every time I talked about it, the kids really couldn't put it together until they actually saw it on Paramount Plus.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy you mentioned about like, watching food reality shows. It's kind of wild the amount of like variety of reality TV shows that you wouldn't even expect. Like for example, like Hell's Kitchen, like you wouldn't ever expect that to be a reality show, you know what I mean?
Right. And I watch all of Gordon Ramsay's shows, whatever he's on, whatever platform he's on, I'm watching. So I love that guy.
Maybe he can make a transition over to the challenge.
Oh, that'd be scary. Oh, he's in good shape though. He'd be great.
Yeah, he's for his
Mhm.
age, he's definitely yeah.
I think he's almost, I want to say he's my age.
Oh, let me take that back then for
Yeah.
his age comment. I think I should take that back.
I think he's my age.
Don't want to get off on the wrong foot here.
That's okay.
So a lot of my followers, when I said you're going to be joining me today, wanted me to ask you about this incident. They wanted to know maybe what was your thoughts on the David and Tammy thing.
On the blanket?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Every time, and you could ask John this too, every time we watch it, we all cringe. We all cringe because, I think it's something that shouldn't have gone as far as it did. And we all look yucky there. It's not one of our proudest moments. And it could have gone differently if, looking back, if everybody did something um, to stop it. Let's just say that. And
How
we
do you
didn't.
feel, how do you feel like that would be received today if it were to take place? As worse
Oh,
or
I think it'd be worse.
mm.
It would be totally worse. Um, and I'm just glad that that didn't happen now. Definitely.
So were you surprised to see either of them make the return for this, or who maybe were you more surprised to see between the two?
Um, I think Tammy, she's a
Yeah.
busy girl. She's very
Yeah.
busy with what she's doing. And, to find the time to do this, I'm sure it took some work for her, but, we appreciate that she was there. And
Yeah.
David, what, I think, he's the kind of guy that likes to be up on stage anyway. So I think it was perfect for him.
It's like incredible what Tammy's been able to parlay her real world from.
Yep. I don't take anything away from the girl. She's a hard worker, and she deserves whatever is in the future for her.
Yeah. So did you regret leaving your season early, and did that play any part in wanting to come back too, to kind of have like a second chance, or?
You know, I think if I would have planned my wedding a little bit smarter, I would have had it at the end of the season rather than the middle of the season. And I did come back a couple times just to visit. But I think 3 months was as much as I could take. I had another life, and my career was very demanding at that time. And so I think it was perfect timing, and I don't regret leaving early.
Did you still feel like a part of the bunch coming back onto this, or?
Yeah, I did. I definitely did. I mean, I felt just as much as part of the family back then as I did coming back this time.
So who were you maybe in touch with prior to coming back for this?
Oh, John and Beth.
Beth S?
Beth S. I mean, I've been to her house a couple times. We had dinner. I've met her kids, her husband. Um, and John, actually, we've talked throughout the years. I followed his journey, with his nonprofit organization, and him being a pastor at different churches in Florida and now in Alabama. And actually, for my honeymoon, we drove across country and to Nashville. That was our destination. But I had to make a little side tour to Alabama to visit John.
He was crying at your wedding, right? I think it was like a funny moment.
Yeah, I don't know. I was too busy to notice. But when I saw the show, apparently he looked sad. I don't know if he was crying, but he looked sad. He was just sad because I was like the only normal one, according to him, that was leaving him behind. And he never lets me live that down.
So I'll ask you about Beth S now. Do you feel like there's a misconception with her with these shows? She gets kind of painted in the villain role. Do you feel like there's a misconception? Is she misunderstood on these shows?
You know what? She means very, very well. And I don't like that they call her the villain. She just, sees an opportunity and she takes it. You cannot fault her for that. She wants to win. I would want to win, but if they want to look at her as being a villain, they're the ones with the problem, because she is a very, very sweet girl. She's a great mom. And, and she's the oldest, challenge person out there when she's on the show.
Yeah, like I see her on like the challenges, and then I just think I'm like, and then I see like how positive she is on social media, and I'm like, what could they not like about her, And it seems like she's always getting ganged up on too. She goes into these things. I mean, maybe not the last All-Star season. She seemed to have a little bit more of allies on her side, but yeah, she had Cyrus there. I mean. But back in the day, like it seemed like she would go into this thing with everybody kind of already pitted against her, and I don't know, like
maybe it's her own perception that they're after her, and she makes it known, and so people come after her. But she's not like that at all.
What about the other Beth, the one that replaced you? Did you get the chance to intermingle with her prior to this, or was this your first time kind of getting a really
Well, I when I did go back to the house a couple of times, I got to know her a little bit. And funny thing, I was in Hawaii on the Big Island, and out in the middle of nowhere, pulled over to this restaurant to have a beer and to get some food. And I looked over in the corner, small little place. There she was sitting in the corner. And I'm like, Beth? And after that, we actually connected more on social media, and started talking. And but I got to know her really, really well on the reunion show, and it's going to be a relationship that's going to last a lifetime for sure.
Wait, so off the show, before this and after your original Real World, you saw her randomly?
Randomly.
What?
Yep. I know. It's just weird. It's like we're all connected in some way. And there she was with her husband, in overalls and her hair up, and I was blown away when she was there. So yeah, we're connected, all of us, in some strange way. We are all connected.
That was where?
In Hawaii.
Hawaii. Wow. Go figure.
Yeah, well, that's where she lives. Well, she's over here, but her home's on the Big Island.
Oh, so she lives there. Okay.
Mm-hmm. She lives there.
I figured it was like some getaway, and you're both going at the same time.
No, but where the restaurant was, or this little cafe, it's out in the middle of nowhere, and it's like, how did I know to stop at that place? and she was there. It was
Wow.
just bizarre.
So did you get like a lot of I don't know if this was a thing at the time, but were you getting any opportunities to go on like any post show like appearances or like engagements?
No, not nothing at all. I think
So
I kind of made it known that I just kind of wanted to live my life, raise my kids and just do the mom thing. And so I just think that that's why I didn't get those opportunities.
uh I don't even know, were those a thing at the time, like bar appearances and stuff like that?
I don't think so. I lived really a sheltered life in my little, house in the suburbs, and I really didn't know what was going out, happening out in the outside world. So I have no idea if those things or opportunities were even there.
Wow. So it seems like once the show was done, you kind of, I don't want to say distance yourself, but was that your intention?
Um, in a way, yeah, it was. It was because it was kind of surreal to when it did air to have people notice you on the streets. But it was even a little bit more worrisome when the inmates noticed me.
From the
And
show?
from the show, when they were in custody, they're like, "Oh, you're the girl from the real world." And I showed a lot of my personal life on the show. But when you're in law enforcement, your last name is on your name badge for a reason, so that they can't find you out there. So I really didn't think, I was really thinking that, the inmates were going to recognize me. And what if it was, somebody who I didn't want to know me?
Well, yeah,
And
because then it becomes like a safety thing.
exactly, exactly. So I think that's why I kept a low profile.
How long would you say it took, time wise, until like it's the dust had settled and then like life had kind of taken its course? You hadn't really been recognized as much.
I would say maybe 5 years after the show aired.
Wow.
And I was raising kids, but it was bizarre yesterday. I'm selling my house right now, and the home inspection guy was here, and I had a picture from the show way back when, because I'm taking pictures off the wall, I'm packing, and it was in the garage. And he comes in and he goes, "Oh, you know Aaron?" I'm like, "What?" He went to high school with Aaron. And
What?
I'm like, what? And his older brothers, because Aaron has older brothers. So it's just a small world that, if people see something that connect me to it, then they recognize me. So I am getting recognized randomly out there, which shocks the hell out of me.
It seems like you have like an uncanny kind of knack for running into people, you know?
Uh-huh. It seems like it. It does seem like it.
Now, is Aaron one of the people that's not going back on the show, or who am I thinking of? I know Dominic's not, right?
Right. Well, the ones that you saw on the trailer and on the pictures that we've been posting, those are the ones that are on the show. So Aaron and Dominic are not with us.
Were you surprised to see that?
No,
Oh,
because Aaron didn't. The last time I saw Aaron was from the show originally.
and that was it.
That was it.
Do you know
He
if that
was.
was the case with everybody?
I think. Oh no. So Aaron, I think still talks with Glenn.
And that's it?
I think so.
Do you know why that might be?
Hmm. You know, he never came back for any of the reunion shows that we did. Um, I never really. I didn't even have his contact information to find him, and he's
Mm.
not on social media. So I never really had the opportunity to ask him, why did he not want to keep in touch with us? Maybe he has regrets from doing the show. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, reality TV in general, and yeah, it definitely has its stigma, I guess you could say, to it, and not everybody is. I don't want to say made for it, but like not everybody can kind of just handle it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that and back then we didn't know what we're, expecting to happen. We were told it's going to be a documentary. And so we didn't know the expectations, we didn't know what was going to happen or the impact we were going to have on people's lives. And maybe it's a huge responsibility in the long run. And maybe he just didn't want that responsibility. He was career oriented, and he had his goals. And I think that's what was driving his future, were those goals.
Yeah. Social media is probably going to play a part too, though, like maybe in his mind if he were to come back, because now with like all the heightened press and coverage, stuff like
Well,
that.
whether he likes it or not, he's still out there. You can go to Paramount Plus and pull up the old season and watch it, and he can still be recognized out there. So we don't go away. We're still out there.
Have you gone back
or not?
Have you still gone back and watched anything on Paramount Plus?
Well, I watched the show with my kids and my husband now, because he back then he was in Montana with no TV. And funny story, because he was at a bar talking to some friends, and he goes, "Yeah, did you see that new thing that's on TV? It's called The Real World." And Phil had no idea because, like I said, he had no TV. So I got to see it with him as well, which was kind of awkward, seeing me get married to somebody else at that time. And I've seen the challenge on there. And I saw the first Real World New York, and I saw their homecoming, which I was super impressed by. And, I thought, I hope they call us. I would love to get back with everybody else and see what everybody else was up to.
So you saw the All-Stars then, I would assume.
Yeah, yeah.
Did
I
you
saw
have any,
that. I was rooting for her.
Oh, I think everybody can agree that she got the short stick on that one with the way it was formatted.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know,
absolutely.
She was killing it, I gotta say.
Yeah, she was. And, unfortunately, Cyrus got hurt. We were watching, we did get together and we watched a couple of her episodes with Cyrus. So that was fun. And I think she went home too early. She really did. And so I hope she does well, and I'm going to be rooting her on.
Yeah, especially because it looked like out of all her challenges and shows that she did, like this one, she seemed like the most like 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 in the best place, and you know what I mean, like the happiest she's been on one of these shows.
Yeah, I think so, and I think it has to do with being a mom and a wife and her kids. They're great kids, and she's got her eyelash company going, so she is in a much better place right now.
I think that for the people watching this and hearing you wanting to come and do an All-Stars, I think maybe in the future if they do like a format of I don't know what they would even call it, but if they take like real worlders who weren't on the challenge and like kind of throw them on, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that would be cool. I wanted to tell John that I want to be his partner in this. I think it would be a lot of fun. He wants to do it too.
Oh yeah, I've been seeing that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Be nice to see him get a crack at it. So, in parting, anything that we could come to expect come November 25th?
24th. 24th.
24th. Got
24th.
it. I saw Thanksgiving Day and I was...
Yeah, I guess it's midnight on the 24th, so technically I guess it is Thanksgiving Day. You're just going to be really shocked and surprised. And yeah, shocked and surprised. There's going to be a lot of good happy moments, and you're going to see how we've matured over the years and how some things never change.
There you have it, folks. But thank you for your
So tune in.
Thank you for your time today, Irene. I had a fun time chatting with you. Maybe in the future, we could have another one of these chats. We'll remain contacted, of course. And if do you want to give your social handles so maybe the fans could follow you, or?
I'm at Irene's Real World LA on Instagram and Irene Suttner on Facebook, and Irene's Real World on LA on Twitter as well.
Sounds good. All right.
Great.
Thank
Thank
you
you
again.
so much. It's been fun.
Have a great rest of your day.
Okay, you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.